Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our new Maritime Innovation Update session this Friday. Today, my colleague Emin Nakilcioğlu will explain their latest research on the speech recognizer marFM 2.0. Our colleague Emin completed his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering at Istanbul Technical University, and then he continued with his master's degree in mechatronics, specialized in intelligent systems, robotics, and deep learning at the Hamburg University of Technology. And since August 2020, he has been working as a research associate at Fraunhofer Center for Maritime Logistics and Services. His work focuses on AI-based digital solutions in research areas such as academic automatic speech recognition, natural language processing, time series, and workload forecasting and prediction. Before carrying on with the presentation, I would like to remind you all that this session will be recorded. So please make sure that your cameras and microphones are turned off during the presentation. But of course, you are more than welcome to turn them on during the question and answer part at the end of our presentation if you have any questions to my colleague. Or you can also directly write them to the chat and I will be reading them. So without any further ado, let's move on to today's presentation. Emin, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Matt, for the kind intro. So I welcome you all to today's MIU session where I will introduce you the latest version of our maritime speech recognizer marFM. So for those who may not be familiar with marFM or speech recognition issues in general, in the maritime industry, I just have the thing that will explain, in my opinion, the gist of it. So just to repeat, that's I think this little VHF audio message will explain the main issues of just what we are dealing with when it comes to maritime messages.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is the Northern Bell. We're 5910, 146, 47. This is the Northern Bell. Mayday, mayday.
So hoping everyone heard the recording. So this was a real VHF radio message from a fishing vessel that sank in Gulf of Alaska on April 20th, 2010. So 3 of the 4-man crew were rescued alive, but the captain, Robert Royer, died before the rescue team arrived. So Captain Royer realized the emergency position indicating radio beacon was not operational. He ran to the bridge, sent a distress call, and they believed that was the thing that saved other crew members. So this tragedy kind of reminds us how important the communication is for sea traffic and sea security. So it also exemplifies how troubling the radio messages can be. Noisy background, maritime slang, no chance of replays. Though we hear a kind of standard American accent here, there are also different accents and dialects. These can also cause miscommunication among the personnel. So for this end, we've been developing a multilingual maritime speech recognizer, what we call marFM. Here how it works. So we have our client side here, which is where we displayed our graphical interface. You see as marFM app here. And then that's the one that initiates the connection to the VHF device. The client records the audio, sends it to API to be transcribed and stored. So basic flow is repeated for each recording. Once the transcription is complete, the user gets to see the transcription along with the audio player that gives the user a chance to replay the audio if they want to. For the last couple of months, we had a chance to, set up our applications on multiple sites. You've seen a snippet of marFM in our ship bridge laboratory with a real-time conversations. So like this, we have the chance to really test our advancement and how well that they apply to the real life scenarios. Besides, with the help of communication personnel that use the technology, we had a chance to hear from them what they think works well or what needs improvement. So with using these feedback and what we hear from them, we update our system accordingly. To that end, we've for the last 6 to 7 months, we've been working on the second version of marFM, what we call marFM 2.0, which is the main topic of today's session. What are the main differences? Before I get on with the differences, just want to mention that all these new editions are only available in English at the moment. We are working on to extend on the other languages as well, but currently it's just applies to English. So the disclaimers out the way. Let's go through what's new. But all the elements of the previous system, database management, scalable API, and multilingual speech recognition service, they all remain. What we do is we now combine the already existing systems with the new natural language processing components. And the outputs of these components will be displayed in the dashboard, which I will show you in the next slide, a snippet of it. So what are these elements? The most important one is that we extended our models vocabulary using open source data sources on geological names, ship names, to achieve higher transcription accuracy in the context of maritime domain. Also, we are developing a message marking agent that automatically marks the messages into 8 official categories designated by the International Maritime Organization. On top of that, we have Maritime Entity Recognizer that helps the model identify the entities, whether it be locations, vessels, vessel names, warning signs, and etc. All the things that could matter in the context of maritime. As I said, we display all these outputs on a dashboard. So this is how our dashboard looks. We have, as I mentioned, all these official categories that is automatically marked after the transcription. At the same time, we kind of do some user-friendly filtering. If you want to filter out the messages by date, you just click on the time frame you want, and you just get to see all these messages belongs to that time frame. If you click on the 10th hour, you'll get to see all the messages between 10th and 11th for hourly time frame. And you can also change the interval to the year, to month, to weeks. There are multiple intervals there. Everything will be updated accordingly, how you change the interval. And the other thing is when you filter out by date, you will see all the messages that's been filtered out. Only that filtered out messages listed below the dashboard. So there were 2 other features we are still testing before we deploy marFM 2.0, as I mentioned. One is the Entity Recognizer. Its main functionality is to identify the designated entities. In the maritime context, this will be ship vessels, ships, vessels, geographical names, warning signals, latitudes, longitude information, etc. Whatever you can find in these transcription and communications. This feature is more for post-processing of the transcription rather than the transcription process itself. So, for example, you can use the warning signs that's been identified as to put up a early detection system for distress calls. The other one is the streaming. So when we talk to the communication personnel after they use marFM for a while, one of the main things they wanted to tell us was the time that needed to receive the transcription. So generally, maritime radio talks rather snappy, to the point. It's all standardized. It's also expected to be that way, but in reality, things can be quite different. There are multiple channels in VHF radio. Some channels are dedicated to more informal conversation. And this is where they share also the official information regarding where they're going through, under the bridge, or what their intentions are. So things can get lengthy there. That means if they are like using more, when the information is, when the messages are lengthy, the transcription time also gets longer. So they asked if they could get like a preview of the transcription before receiving the final one. That's what we mean by streaming or live transcription. Also, that terminology is also used. So that is also one of the new features that's been implemented. Also, we're also testing, as I showed previously, in our lab to see how well it works with multiple inputs, multiple clients, and also how well it lives up to its promise in real life scenarios. So So this is basically a short review of what is new in marFM 2.0, what we've been working for the last 6 to 7 months. If you'd like to know more about it, you can contact me directly, or if you want to book a demo, of course, as well. You can email me, find me on LinkedIn. That's the name. So you can also visit our website. Doesn't show up here, but it's marFM.ai. It's quite straightforward. You can also go there, book your demo there. This video also be shared on our YouTube channel for MIU next week. So you get to see it again if there is information you want to revisit. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much, Emin, for the very interesting presentation. If anybody has questions at the moment, feel free to turn on your mic and ask the question directly, or you can also just text it to the chat, then I would read it. And while waiting for it, actually, I have one question. Emin, how do you address the noise problem of VHF radio messages? Because the first example you showed us, it was pretty hard even for me to understand.
It's been quite some time since we started with the development process. So first tried, suppressing the voice, handle the noise, or cancel the noise, however you want to call it, and then try to, train our model to understand this non-noisy, so-called non-noisy speech. And then the results were not that good, so we decided to involve the noise situation in the training session as well. So therefore, the model has an understanding of noisy signals even more. Instead of kind of detaching the noise situation from the speech, we want to put it in the training altogether, so the model get a better understanding of what these words are, even in a noisy situation. So yeah, that was our latest approach. It turned out great. We had a better performance regarding the transcription of noisy signals, no matter how noisy the signals are, as long as the model knows or had a chance to see these noise levels before during the training. Yeah.
Thank you. Then can we say this is the biggest performance difference the marFM offers from other speech recognizers readily available, like Google Speech-to-Text or Whisper?
Exactly. One of the main things are the noise one, because, for example, these readily available models, they have bigger resources, but all data speech, and it's kind of a really environment that you don't get to see a lot of noise. Let it be audiobooks, let it be like general conversation from recorded from a phone. So the situation is not noisy. But if you were to apply these models to our situation, maritime traffic, you get transcription that is kind of sometimes hallucinated, sometimes there's nothing even there. It doesn't think there's a speech there, but there is. So yeah, that was the main starting point, handling a noise situation. And then comes the maritime slang and all these words and terminologies that is not familiar to other models.
Mm-hmm. And sounds quite interesting, to be honest. And do you guys offer your speech recognition services as a standalone offline solution, or can it also be reached online to the public?
Both, actually. As I mentioned, that we installed our for our pilot projects to premises, one in Finland, one in a laboratory, one also in Hamburg, to producer that produces ship bridges. So we also provide a standalone solution that is good for ships if they don't have any kind of internet connection. It's also integrated to the system that gives the ship bridge more chance to work on this transcription or use for any kind of further processing. We also offer online services. We have a server that one can have an account. As I said, first we book a demo and you see how well it fits to your situation, and then you can have a subscription, and then we will provide services of transcription. At the moment, German and English. We have other languages, but we do it standalone, this one. But the online services are German and English. We offer through an API and through online service.
Mhm. Well, thank you very much for the true explanation. I guess that's all the questions that I have at the moment. Since I do not see any questions on the chat, I would like to remind again that the mail address and the phone number of my colleague Emin is on the screen, so one can always reach him through this means.
Absolutely.
And I guess then I will be slowly closing this session. Thank you all for joining us today, this afternoon, to this very interesting presentation. And thank you, Emin.
Yeah, thank you all for your time, and yeah, have a nice weekend.
Have a nice weekend. Bye.